trading desk setup, or trading on a laptop? Which is better? Let's find out. Over the last couple of videos, I've been exploring whether or not trading from a laptop is feasible. Links to these in the description and the cards above. But what about trading from a desktop setup? Is it better than trading from a laptop? Let's start with the pros. The first benefit I think of when trading from a desktop setup is the option to easily have more than one screen. I'm not one of those people that thinks more screens the better, but I think having two screens is a lot better than one, especially when trading. My current desktop setup has a 27-inch 1440p monitor in the centre and a smaller 22-inch 1080p portrait screen either side. This is obviously a luxury, but one I sorely miss when trying to work from one screen. Trading from a desktop setup is usually a lot more comfortable in my experience too. Obviously you can still have a designated desk that you use if you trade from a laptop, but I find that most people don't go to this much effort with this, if they do it at all. Being comfortable has always been a priority for me when putting my desktop setup together, as I think it helps you stay focused when trading, especially when you're sat in the same place for long periods of time. The last thing you want is to become fidgety and irritable whilst trading. That's not going to help you stay disciplined in the markets. Something I have touched on in the previous laptop videos is computer peripherals. My keyboard, mouse, speakers and even microphone all add to a more comfortable and stress-free experience when trading from my desk. This is mainly because I've invested in good quality peripherals and have now got to a point where I am very happy with each of them. I'm going to make an updated trading desk setup video in the near future, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when that's uploaded. It may seem a strange thing to boast about, but having a stable power source and internet connection isn't even a consideration when trading from a desktop setup. This is more of a consideration when trading from a laptop. Upgrading a desktop setup is also very easy when compared to a laptop. Take my old X1 Carbon laptop for example. The trackpad on this thing drove me mad, but if I want to change it, I can't just install a new trackpad. I need to change the whole laptop, and buying a new laptop is expensive. This isn't a problem when using a desktop setup. All you need to do is buy a new mouse, unplug the old mouse, and insert the new one. Sorted. Moving on to the cons. The most obvious con when trading from a desktop setup is that it is fixed. You can't pick up the whole thing and go and trade outside when the sun finally decides to grace the UK with its presence, for example. You're stuck inside, looking out the window at the guy who chose to trade on a laptop. Another con when compared to a laptop is the process of setting it all up. There's a lot more work when putting together a proper trading desk setup than simply buying a laptop and turning it on. To build a good one requires research into different parts of the setup, sourcing those parts, and then assembling it all. A lot of people will either think they aren't capable of putting one together or simply can't be bothered, not when the alternative is simply purchasing a laptop. This leads us on to cost. Building a trading desk setup will likely be more expensive than buying a laptop. This is just because there are a bunch of extra items that you need in order to build one. You not only need the computer, you need the monitors or monitor, keyboard, mouse, speakers, the desk itself, and a chair at a minimum. And all these items bring me on to my last con, which is having the space to build a trading desk. Not everyone will have space in their home for a trading desk. More of us, especially living in cities, are getting used to living in smaller spaces, and so having a trading desk is unlikely to be a high priority if that's the case. In fact, I bet the COVID-19 lockdown has tested this theory in most homes around the world. I know a lot of my friends have had to set up desks in their living rooms, bedrooms, and even kitchens in order to have a space to work now that so many of us are working from home for the foreseeable. I also bet most of these people will be looking forward to reclaiming that living space once the pandemic has passed, if that ever happens. And so that brings us to the conclusion. Is having a trading desktop setup better than trading from a laptop? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I know for me, I would be very reluctant to go from a dedicated trading desktop setup to only trading on a laptop. I am lucky enough to have a bedroom that we don't use in the house we live in, so we've turned that into an office space. So the space requirement isn't an issue for me. I'm also a bit of a tech nerd, so researching, testing and building setups like this isn't a chore for me. I really enjoy it. And so the only con that would apply to me is the lack of portability. Again, if you've seen the last video, I've simply bought a laptop for the occasions I can't trade from my desk, or just fancy a change of scenery. With all that said, I can completely see that if you are used to working from a laptop, own a decent laptop, and aren't bothered about only having one screen, why you'd possibly choose to only trade from a laptop. I've bought the new M1 MacBook Pro and that thing is brilliant. So I hope that's been an interesting insight, traders, and let me know how you prefer to trade in the comments. I'm curious to see what most of you do. Have a great week in the markets, traders, and stay safe.